Welcome to this video about good academic practice from the Academic Skills Centre. Good academic practice encompasses all of the things that writers do to ensure their work is scholarly. And there are lots of different aspects to good academic practice, but this short video will consider just two: the language that we use in academic writing and how we might engage with sources successfully. How do we learn to write? As we begin studying, or returning to studying after a break, it's worth reflecting on how we learn to write. How do we know what makes good academic writing? Well, we learn just like we learn to do anything else. By practice, so we learn to write by writing and reflecting on our writing. But we also learn by reading. And I think it's important to make a little bit of time every day for reading. We can also study examples of writing. You might want to check whether there's a bank of assessed work for your course. This can be useful for seeing what good looks like. And when you're reading the work of others, think not only about what they're saying, but also how they're saying it. You might even want to make a note of short phrases that you like. This way you'll build up a bank of useful expressions for your own work. What about difficult words? Sometimes at university you'll need to engage with difficult words. These are words when even if you look them up, they still seem a little bit tricky, and I've given the example here of neoliberalism. Now, a useful strategy with words like this might be to try and build up a sense of the word's meaning over time. So you might want to write the word down on a piece of paper and then note down some definitions that you found. And then build this document, so add notes from lectures and readings whenever this comes up. And then you might add notes from elsewhere. Perhaps you hear the word on a radio programme or see it written in the newspaper. So you might make a note about the context that you saw the word in. This way you might gradually build a picture of the idea or concept or theory. Now, when we read and then report the ideas of others, we have a choice about how to present them and their ideas. So you might want to think about your reporting verbs in your writing. You might say Smith found this, or Yang argues something. Or you might choose the word proposes, suggests, writes, points out, or rejects. How many reporting verbs can you think of? And reflect on how the choice of word conveys slightly different meanings. And finally here, what about tentative language? You might notice tentative language when you're reading. Expressions like this may be because, or Andrews might view this as, or the results could be interpreted as. These kinds of phrases help us to express hesitancy, explore alternative interpretations, and show a degree of academic humility. An important part of your studies will involve finding good quality sources. It's a good idea to begin with the recommended reading for your course. But what else can you find? You could explore the library catalogue, have a look at the library subject guides, and learn a bit more about search techniques. An important aspect of engaging with sources successfully is referencing. Now, this can be daunting at first, but once you know how to do it, it becomes second nature. Referencing has two important functions. The first is acknowledging an intellectual debt to another author, and by this way avoiding plagiarism. And the second is indicating where ideas have come from, so a reader can refer to the source themselves. And referencing happens in two main ways. you'll have an in-text reference and a reference list at the end of your essay or assignment. The information needed will depend on the referencing style, but will usually include the name of the person that wrote the thing, when they wrote it, and where it was published. So how do you learn to reference? Well, the first job to do is to check your department's referencing style, and then use Cite Them Right to help you to learn to reference in that style. You might also want to explore referencing software to help you organise your references. Finally, let's consider paraphrasing. Sometimes you'll want to use the exact words of the author when you write about their ideas, and this is called quoting. In this case, you should copy the quotation very carefully, use quotation marks, and cite the author's work. But usually, you'll want to write about what an author has said using your own words. Writing in your own words in this way is called paraphrasing. Now, good paraphrasing demonstrates an understanding of another person's ideas. You'll want to think about how you can use different expressions from those used by the authors, and this way you can avoid plagiarism. A strategy you might want to try is this. You could read the text, think about the main points that are being made, and then put the text out of sight and try to sum up the writer's argument in your own words. And finally, you might want to check back the original text to ensure that you've produced a fair summary. The Academic Skills Centre can support you in your studies with a wide range of academic skills. Explore our website to book a one-to-one appointment with a friendly skills advisor, discover coming workshops and drop-ins, or explore our online resources via the Academic Skills Gateway.